Good afternoon, good evening, and thank you for joining our Sip and Sail Cocktail Hour. For the first time, we are excited to virtually welcome aboard our loyal guests, first-time travelers, and our valued travel advisors and partners who are joining us from all around the world. Before we embark, we have just a few friendly reminders. This is a live and interactive event, and we'd love to address your questions and comments. We have a team of excellent moderators who are dedicated to answering your questions live. If you are joining us on the webinar platform, please use the Questions tab on the right-hand side. For those of you joining us on Facebook and via YouTube channel, simply leave your comment. This event will be recorded and shared with you at a later time. And now it is my pleasure to introduce to you our incredible hosts for today. Our very own co-founder and Executive Vice President of AmaWaterways, Kristin Karst, and Emmy Award-winning TV host and godmother of AmaMagna, the one and only Samantha Brown. Ladies and gentlemen, bon voyage and enjoy.
Hello, Kristin.
Hello, Samantha. So good to see you again. It has been a while.
Too long. It's been too long, but virtually you look as beautiful as you do in real life.
Oh my God, so do you. So do you. We have to come back on AmaMagna and some of the other ships, right? But yeah,
yes.
I say hello, everyone. Hello. I'm so excited for all of you joining us today for our Sip and Sail Hour. It is virtual, but this is our new world, of course. Those of you who know me, you know I am passionate about river cruising, and I deeply believe that travel is a force of good in the world. There are so many wonderful sights and gracious people waiting to be discovered as soon as the time is right to travel again. In the meantime, we love sharing our special memories, our wonderful experiences, and savvy travel tips that we hope will inspire you as we all say, stay safe at home, dreaming and planning for our next trip. And there are a lot of dreams going on right now. Now, I cannot think of a better source of travel inspiration than my co-host, Samantha Brown. Samantha, we have been sponsors of your PBS show, Places to Love, for the past 3 seasons. And we have welcomed you and your film crew on several river cruises. So your love of travel and your openness to the world make you the perfect choice. When we appointed you as the godmother of our AmaMagna, in fact, I should not say appointed, we had such an honor that you accepted to become the godmother of our AmaMagna. You became a special member of our AmaWaterways family when you christened our newest ship on the Danube last July. And it was a special occasion for everyone. And I get still so many messages from our travel agent partners, from our clients who came to join, who came from other ships actually to join the celebration as well, asking, when you will come back. And of course, we will talk about all of this later, but I want to thank you so much for making the time and joining us today for this very special Sip and Sail. And Samantha, please take it away now.
Kristin, thank you so much. I was honored to be given the title of godmother of the AmaMagna, and just honored to work with you and Rudy and your entire team. For those of you watching, thank you for my Facebook followers who are watching right now, and all the travel advisors are here. AmaWaterways, like Kristin said, has been sponsor of my travel show, Samantha Brown's Places to Love, for 3 years. It is the #1 rated travel series on PBS, and it would not be possible were it not for AmaWaterways. They make it possible. They fund my show. And when Kristin talks about the passion she has, that travel should be for all, this is what she means, because public television makes this wonderful show accessible and the world accessible to all. I am thrilled to be talking about my dear AmaMagna today. I was lucky enough to sail with you on several occasions, 3 times, I believe, maybe 2.5 to be very specific. But I always remember what a psychiatrist told me, which she said that simply dreaming and planning of travel gives us the same mental boost is actually being in a destination. So that's what we're here today, to provide a mental boost and to dream, because we know it's coming back, and we'll be ready.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I am so happy to welcome so many of our travel advisor partners from North America, from all over the world. I want to say thank you, merci, gracias, grazie, spasiba, and so many more. It's awesome that you all came to join us, no matter what the hour is in the part of the world where you are living. And Samantha, I know so many of your fans and past guests, they are here as well. I heard it is way over 1,000 who have joined us now on Facebook and YouTube today. So it's wonderful that you have such a great followership. And I know if we would have much more capacity, there would be even so many more coming in. So many of you who have not, and this goes to our guests here, many of you who have not cruised with us and haven't experienced our sip and sail cocktail hours. This is actually the event on board our ships that takes place the hour before dinner. So it is a wonderful opportunity to get connected with your fellow cruisers or family members, I can say so, with your crew members. We have a special complimentary sip and sail cocktail menu available for you. And I always see everyone coming back from the shore excursions, you know, getting settled together, chatting about the day, chatting about all the different excursions that everyone did, because we are not just having one per day. We have sometimes 3, 4, 5, and then you of course exchange your experiences. So this could be the regular city tour, let's say in Vienna. This could be a culinary tour. This could be a wine tasting, a hiking tour, and we also have bike tours in Vienna. So, and then of course from the sip and sail, we all go in to dinner. But before we ask everyone to join us for our very first toast, we have prepared a couple of toasts actually for today. Samantha, do you want to share what your favorite drink is and what you will be toasting today and why you choose it?
Oh, don't mind if I do. I'm having a lovely Gruner Veltliner. This grape is well represented on the banks of the Danube, especially Durnstein, which we'll be talking about a little further on. But I love this wine. I was a waiter in New York City for 10 years, and I remember the day I finally was able to pronounce Gruner Veltliner. I thought I was the most sophisticated person I had ever met. And now I get to drink it, and quite often I might add. So this is what I'm drinking.
And I love Gruner Veltliner. It always reminds me on the Danube and the Wachau Valley we are cruising through. Now I actually choose today a counterpart, the full-bodied red, which is called the Blaufränkischer. So Blaufränkischer is a grape from Austria, not just from the Danube. It's actually the second, I would say, yeah, it's a grape that is planted quite often in many different wine areas in Austria. It is full-bodied, it is well-rounded, it is quite spicy, a little bit peppery, and I wanted to share actually this special wine with you today, because I know so many guests who come on board with us love this wine and always ask, where can they buy it here in North America? And it's a hard find, I have to say, but there are some special stores where you can purchase it. But maybe even more of a reason to join one of our future wine cruises on the Danube, or some other itineraries. And because tomorrow is International Family Day, I thought it would be nice to take a moment to raise our glasses to families. So here is to sharing the world and the places we love with those we love the most. Cheers. Prost, zum Wohl.
Oh, lovely and crisp. Wonderful toast. I think with traveling with families is something that I truly enjoyed on board. your ships. I always traveled with many generations. My children came with me, grandparents came, and so it was this multi-generational trip. So we love AmaWaterways for that sense of being with the people, like you said, you love. I'm really excited here today to give you sort of a first glimpse. If you haven't seen this ship, the AmaMagna, it is one of a kind, a truly unique ship, the largest sailing on the Danube or any European river for that matter. Correct, Kristin? And I am her godmother, so I thought I'd give you a little tour of the ship. My crew and I, we were there shooting for the entire cruise, as well as for episodes Budapest, as well as Vienna. So that's in places to love. But one day we took one day aside and we just shot on board, and we just did this fantastic video that I know is going to give you a great glimpse of what the most unique river ship in the world looks like. And I think we have just a little bit of a delay, but what you're going to see first is the christening of it. So you're not a godmother if you can't hit your ship with a big bottle of champagne. And remember, Kristin took me through the whole thing. She trained me. How many ships have you christened, Kristin?
Oh, I only have, of course, one, the Ama Christina, right? So and that's your sister on the Rhine. And it's, of course, a beautiful, beautiful ship. But I have attended pretty much every christening that we have. We have 24 ships right now, cruising the Rhine, the Danube, the French rivers, in Portugal, the Douro, but also in Asia on the Mekong River, and the smallest Zambezi Queen in Africa. So it's very nice. But your ship offers the luxury of space, Samantha. And I think this is what's becoming so much important in our new world today, because it's all about having space, right? Yes. And having so many restaurants now on board a river cruise ship, because normally a river cruise ship has a main dining area, and like in some cases, like our other ships, a chef's table restaurant. But AmaMagna has 4 restaurants. There's so much space so that we can handle very, very well the new way of distancing from each other, wherever you go, wherever you sit, wherever you have your meals, wherever you have your drinks. So that is actually coming really handy with the ship right now. We didn't build it for this purpose, but
that's right.
It's meant to be now.
Yeah, I mean, I think with the... Oh, go ahead, Sonia.
We have the video ready for you whenever you are.
Okay. Where do you see my champagne arm? Kristina.
Hi, I'm Samantha Brown, and I travel all over the world connecting with places and people. And there's someone I'd like you to meet. She is very important to me. There is nothing like her in the world. It's the AmaMagna. I'm going to be taking you on a personal tour of this state-of-the-art, one-of-a-kind vessel that is truly the most magnificent ship sailing on a European river, or any river for that matter, in the world. Now, I may be a little biased because I am the vessel's godmother.
I name this ship AmaMagna. May God bless and protect her and all those who sail upon her.
Just a little proud, but hey, don't take my word for it. Let me take you on a personal tour so you can see for yourself. I think overall what makes the AmaMagna experience so unique is that she offers amenities known on larger cruise ships, but in a more personal, intimate setting. And I know what you're thinking. She said the word intimate, and that means small. Call that small?
First off, the AmaMagna is twice the width of traditional river ships, with only 20% more passengers. So it's space you're gonna feel.
Up here on this sun deck with a pool and hot tub, there is plenty of space to lounge. Whether you want to sit upright, recline, or not get up at all, the AmaMagna is all about having space. Lots of it. What do you say we go inside? with a bar on one side, a cappuccino machine on the other, and a dance floor right in the middle. This is where the ship congregates. This is the upper lounge. It's where we learn about all the upcoming ports. It's where we talk to one another about our day. It's where we celebrate and dance. There are spaces where you can join the fun crowd, be social, and have a drink. And then there are the quiet spaces where you can read and relax. There are also spaces where you can feel like you have the ship all to yourself. Like the Starboard Library. And there's also the Portside Library. Wait, maybe this is the port side. Or is this? But do you want to know where my favorite spot on board is? The Zen Wellness Room. It's bright and sunlit. It is so peaceful. There's a juice bar, cleansing water, and right next door, a gym. Or there's spin cycles on the aft outdoors so you can take in an intense spin class or put in a great workout. Or not. As someone who is always on the road, I really value my personal time. Sometimes I like to join a group tour with a great guide who tells me all I need to know, and sometimes I want to stroll around a place, let my thoughts wander.
Gives you a little taste of what it's like on board that magnificent ship. It truly is incredible. And I know that a lot of times when you are traveling, one of the most important elements of the travel experience is, of course, food, right? And what is really wonderful about being on any AmaWaterways ship is that whatever the experience of food is on land, right? You see these amazing meals, these beautiful restaurants. Know that your meals are going to be just as fabulous on board. There is a symbiotic relationship between the food you see in the countries that you are in and what you're going to experience on board. And the next video we're going to be talking about, actually, are we going to the video, Sonia? Are we talking a little bit about some of the ports along the way? Oh, okay. So we are talking about Vienna. Vienna, like I said, my crew was there and we shot in Vienna. We shot an entire episode. It was my second time shooting an episode in Vienna. So we wanted to do some kind of off the beaten path places. And one of my favorites, not too off the beaten path, but people always go to Schönbrunn Palace. And so to show the Habsburg Empire 650-year rule, we went to their public library. And what's incredible about this library, you're getting a very small slice of this overwhelmingly, one of the most beautiful libraries you've ever seen in the world. It makes up 2 rooms of what is a 2,550 room palace, the Hofburg Palace in Vienna. And the woman who is giving me a tour, I don't know if you see it, the bookcase actually moves. And behind that bookcase, and there's 12 of them, are these private little chambers where there are floor-to-ceiling windows, and it lets in the natural light. And so she said back then people could go into those nooks and be warmed by the sunlight, as well as have a reading light, because of course the worst thing you could do in a library full of books is light a candle. So you learn about all these little secret jewels, little in-the-know pieces of information when you're in this massive library. But it is an actual public library, the oldest one in Austria. Next, we're going to see the A.E. Kosher. I mean, what is a royal family without its jewels? And one thing about Vienna is you realize it's not just the capital of a country, it is the capital of a once empire. And that's what we go to see. And so if you want to know what the crowns look like, it is A.E. Kosher. They are the official jeweler, or I maybe should say what were the official jeweler to the imperial and royal court. So they literally designed the crowns for the emperor and the empress, and then the princesses and the princes below. I'm wearing a princess crown, and here is something you didn't see in the show. If you ever watched the show, it fell off my head and bounced on the floor. And when it did that, and I heard it bounce, I let out a scream that you would not believe, because I thought I now own a crown. Nothing happened to the jewels, I assure you. But it's a really wonderful place. A lot of people who have toured Vienna, you know about Sissy's jewels, her stars. She had 27 of them, and she would even put them in her hair. A.E. Kosher, they are the family who designed those stars. Next, we're going to see, this is one of my favorite places in all of Vienna, the House of Music Of course, Vienna is known as the city of music. More composers have lived in Vienna than any other city in the world, and the House of Music is where they put them all under one roof. And they have wonderful to say it's a museum is not the right, I would say, name for it. It's so interactive. And one of the experiences you can have there is actually to conduct the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra. What you see in my hand is a computerized wand, and you are seeing the symphony there, and they are moving. The tempo of their beat is moving to the wave of my wand, and you get to choose the music. I chose the Blue Danube. What else? And what is really funny about this experience is as you speed up, the orchestra speeds up, and if you slow down, they start to, and then finally, when they've become flabbergasted with your efforts as a newbie conductor, they'll stop, and like you'll get chewed out by the second violin. It's hysterical. I was playing again, conducting the Blue Danube, and a violinist stood up and said every time he would hear that music, it would make him cry emotionally. And now when he hears me conduct it, he cries tears of pain. So like you are given a dressing down by an Austrian violinist that is just hysterical. So a lot of great humor in Vienna. And I believe our last slide, or maybe it's not our last.
I love how you show all the hidden places, all these really, really special tips and hints that you have ready.
Yeah, and I find that, and maybe you think the same way, Kristin, people of Vienna, even though it is a capital city, they are very relaxed. Mm-hmm. It is a very friendly city. It is actually a slow-paced city for everything that happens there. And people have this lovely, I would say, sort of rural way about them, just in that they enjoy life, they enjoy conversation. And so I would put it on par with what I would call a soft city. You know, I live in New York City, right? That's a hard city. We're not the friendliest people. But the Austrians, especially the Viennese, are just lovely people. And you really see that when you head up to their vineyards. Vienna is known for its, Kristin, tell me if I'm going to pronounce this correctly, Heurigens?
The Heurigen, yeah.
Heurigen?
Almost perfect. Heurigen, yes.
I need a little more Grünerveltliner, and then you can pronounce Austrian better. But a Heurigen is basically a wine garden, and they're all over, of course, Austria, but especially in Vienna. And Vienna, for those of you who don't know, is the only capital city in the world that has urban vineyards. And you're seeing me at one now, and this is actually considered a part of the city of Vienna. It is in the outskirts. It's in what's called the 19th district. And right from the city center, there are trails that lead from public parks to hiking trails that go through vineyards that you will wind your way up these mountains and find yourself at these incredible places where you enjoy the wine and you look over the gorgeous downtown area of Vienna. Here I'm drinking with Fritz Weinigen. Fritz Weinigen. And I remember he told me, listen, whatever you do, don't pronounce my name vinegar. And he, again, great sense of humor, but he makes a wine that is called Gemischter Satz. And Gemischter Satz is a pure Viennese wine. And so Gemischter Satz, to be considered the wine of Vienna, it has to be, there needs to be no less than 3 grapes, all grown together in one plot. So they grow together and they're harvested together. This is unlike any other wine, right? All wines, you know, you harvest the Cabernet Sauvignon, you harvest the Pinot Noir alone. But here, these 3 grapes grow together, they're harvested and blended together. And it's a wonderful analogy of just what a blended and beautiful and diverse city of experiences Vienna really is. So when you go to Vienna, make sure you get a good bottle of Gemischter Satz, a hike up to the Weininger Heurigen, and just enjoy the day, just the way the Austrians do.
It's fascinating how many different grapes you really find in Austria. And Austria is going quite high when it comes to competitions, wine competitions, both for the white and the red. So wonderful. And here, of course, Durnstein, yeah. Everybody's darling.
Yes, exactly. Everyone falls in love with Durnstein, and this is where they grow Gruner Veltliner. You dock right alongside it, and you can walk along the Danube to it. And it's just this enchanting town. When you saw me in that black and white gingham dress, that's where I was, in Durnstein. I'm sure a lot of you watching were like, where is she? Where is that little perfect village? And it's right along the banks of the Danube. The castle is a ruin, but I believe Richard, is it the 4th or the 5th? Was
Richard the Lionheart. Yeah, the 4th. I think it was the 4th. But, you know,
yeah,
maybe we have to look it up again.
Exactly. We're not British. We don't have to know the lineage. One of the Richards, Richard the Lionheart, though, was held captive there. So it has even this tiny little morsel of a village compared to Vienna, has these wonderful experiences, great history, as well as wonderful wine. And it's also famous for apricots. And so you chocolate covered apricots, you get apricot wine or liqueur. I remember when I was there, we bought fresh homemade apricot jam from a lovely lady who was selling her own home batch of apricot jam. And, you know, one of those awful like travel stories, of course, I packed it in the wrong luggage. I put it in my carry-on by a mistake. And so it was confiscated by customs, but hopefully a lovely customs agent got to have apricot jam on toast, and well deserved. So yeah, Durnstein is the little gems that we fall in love with. And don't you think, Kristin, when people go on these cruises that you have these major cities, right? Vienna, which is just sort of a knock your socks off, hit the ground running, because you want to experience everything this amazing city has. And then just maybe, I don't know, 2 hours down the river are these soft little gems where you can just relax and enjoy.
I completely agree. And that's what the Danube is about. That's what Austria is about. It is fantastic, highly cultural cities, very historic. And then come the lovely, colorful villages. And so are the people.
Yes.
I mean, I was born in Germany, and usually in Germany, we say Bavaria is a different country. Or the Bavarians or the ones living in Munich will say, we are not Germans, right? But so are the Chinese. Rudi, our president, my husband, was born in Vienna. And we are always teasing each other, right? Because even the countries that form a border with each other are not necessarily the countries that get along with each other. So we have a special relationship sometimes. But
are you talking about your marriage, Kristin? Or are we talking about country?
No. So I always say exceptions confirm the rules, right?
Yeah.
But Viennese is a very, very different population. And the ones living in the villages an hour or 2 hours away from Vienna, they can be quite different. And they are really, really nice people, welcoming, smiling, want to take you in their house. As you said, the apricot time, June, July, my favorite time to be there as well. And then, of course, you're together with maybe only 300 people who are living in this village. And that makes it so authentic. Yeah.
Yeah, and also that's a great point, because once we dock alongside these tiny villages, we as a group of people, as travelers, aren't totally overwhelming the space, right? It's a small group, and you can wander and you feel like you haven't disrupted or changed everyday life. And that's something that is really important to me as a traveler, that I'm not just being a consumer and then leaving when I'm done. We appreciate what we're seeing, smaller groups, so you can really enjoy on a more intimate basis, a smaller place. And again, it's what I call that soft travel, just where we slow down and enjoy, and we don't overwhelm, and we're not overwhelmed.
Yeah. So
the last picture you see, I think, is Linz. Oh, the one that we just saw is Linz, and that's a lovely city too. Small, right? Small little city, and you take that little trolley. I remember I took it with my kids, and you get it right downtown. And let me tell you, the AmaMagna docks probably a 10-minute walk from that. I had kids, so it was probably slower. I could have made it in 5. So you're right there. Downtown Linz is right there. And we hopped on this trolley, and the trolley is magical. It winds its way through little neighborhoods, and you go past backyards, and you go up this hill, and you go past a zoo, and it's just lush and greenery as you go up this mountain, and it takes you to the top. And there's a little bit of an amusement park that kind of deals with trolls and fairy tales that I took my kids to. However, what my highlight was just sitting in the cafe and realizing that Linz is famous for the Linzer Torte. And it just was one of my favorite pastries. And it dawned on me as I was going up that trolley ride. And so to have Linzer Torte in Linz was really special. But I think we know that, and everyone watching right now knows just how important and intertwined food and enjoyment of food and travel is. And what I loved about being on board, both on the Danube and the Rhine, no matter where we were in terms of the cities, that food that we were seeing on the land in the cafes was compatible to what you were enjoying back on board. You have a relationship, Kristin, with the food that you serve on board with what people are going to experience when they're simply walking around, because that's our expectation, right? That if we're in a city that's famous for something, we're going to be able to come back on board and have it, but have it, let me tell you, times better than what you saw in that cafe that was right there. Charge you an arm and a leg for a rack of lamb. But wow, I don't know if you can talk a little bit about how important food is for, you know, your patrons, and as well as the chefs putting that beautiful food out.
Oh yeah. This is actually one of the dishes we serve in our Chef's Table restaurant. That's a fine dining venue that we have on board, a special tasting menu. I believe it's about 15 small different tastes, like the way you see it here, with the most beautiful decoration, because it is, of course, the taste that is extremely important, and that you can enjoy a lot of dishes from the region we are cruising through, but it's also the eye. I mean, the eye is eating with, it's wonderful. And we have many of our chefs being from Austria, from Switzerland, from the different countries we are cruising through. So definitely it's a culinary delight. And AmaWaterways is a member of the Chain de Rochesseur. In fact, Rudy was inducted in the chain in Austria many years ago, and really enjoys this part. Now, the chain originated in France, so this has nothing really to do with Austria. And we serve a French meal and menu when we have our Chain de Rochesseur evening. However, there are so many different chapters of the chain in Austria, because the Austrians just love to eat and love to go out in restaurants and love to drink wine. So the love for food and culinary is really what also sets Austria apart from each other. So here you go, Samantha.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at that dish with the flowers right now, and I realize I'm so tired of my ham and cheese sandwiches. I need to have some of my AmaMagna Godmother meals. AmaMagna, I think one of the things that people really, amenities that people love about this ship is just the diversity of dining experiences aboard a river ship, which, let's be honest, river ships are not known for this. They're known for their main dining room, and that's fine, but that's kind of it. But AmaMagna has 4 different dining experiences, and we're going to go back to my video so you can see me eat some of this wonderful food, and I can reminisce about better times when my life was filled with ham and cheese sandwiches and macaroni and cheese. But I believe there are 4 eating establishments, correct? On the AmaMagna.
4. And it's about the variety, because we all have, different likes. And one evening we really want to eat in style, and the other evening we might want to go to our alfresco restaurant, which is also a fantastic setup, but a little bit more on the more organic, more light side. So lots of great vegetables and so on, smaller portions. And then you can have your full course, 5-course menu in our either main restaurant, or of course also Jimmy's Wine Bar, which the ones who have been on AmaMagna with us, you know, this has been family style. In the past, Jimmy's Wine Restaurant is called after our late Jimmy Murphy, one of our founders of AmaWaterways and Gary Murphy's father. But this will be one of the changes that we will have to adapt with the new norm, that no more buffets, and everything will be served by our dining crew. But we are prepared. We always had our menus who didn't like buffet style for morning, breakfast, and lunch was always able to order from the menu. And now it will be pretty much menu, but very, very extensive menus in the future. And that's absolutely fine. And I know our guests will enjoy it just as much as just going around and looking at all the abundance of, you know, the different fruits and cheeses and fish items, seafood, and the patisserie. We call it patisserie, so the sweet delights. They are all to die for. So plenty of different choices. Some more healthy, some less healthy. All very, very delicious.
Shall we share the video, Kristin?
Yes, let's do it, Sonia.
Okay.
After a day of discovering new places to love, I've worked up an appetite, and AmaMagna offers up not 1 or 2, but 4 dining choices. There's the beautiful main dining room, of course, but it also has unexpected places like the chef's table, with an open show kitchen where the chef prepares 5 delicious courses right before your eyes. There's al frescos for lighter, more casual meals, where the views are always stunning. But my favorite is Jimmy's, named after one of the co-founders of AmaWaterways. I was traveling with 3 generations of family, and we loved the big tables, shared platters, and exceptional atmosphere where wine and conversation flowed freely.
And this is where the AmaMagna experience really shines. It's truly for those people who don't want to just show family and friends pictures of their trip. They want those people to be in their pictures, to have those experiences with them.
So whether it's a pool to chill in, a restaurant where you can all gather for a great meal, a cinema to get together to watch a movie or play video games, there's space for everyone. When you travel, personal comfort is everything. There are 98 staterooms, with over half of them being spacious suites with full balconies, including this, the Grand Owner Suite, bigger than my first New York City apartment. And all the staterooms have plenty of storage space. And a river cruise first, 16 connecting staterooms, perfect for families.
The city tour through Vienna leaves in 15 minutes. Dinner's in 5. Who has my phone? Get your Buddha out of bed. We're in Pest. They work.
But I've saved the best for last when it comes to being on the AmaMagna. The Danube River herself and the countries she flows through. This beautiful waterway, history and culture that has unfolded along her banks. You feel physically connected to the region's natural beauty, to the quiet villages and grand cities and all the experiences along the way. And yet, you always come back to the Danube to rest and recharge on your home away from home, the AmaMagna. This is a travel experience that will resonate throughout your life, an experience that you can share with your family and dear friends.
To see the world with those who mean the world to you, there is nothing better than the AmaMagna. And I am so proud to be her godmother.
It's great to see her again. It really is. Where is she now? Where is she now, Kristin?
She's in Linz right now. She is in where we have our winter harbor. Normally our ships are there between January and March, getting prepared for the season. But now that we are patiently waiting for our season to start, whenever it's safe again, she is there. We have Captain Jan, of course, being on board. Together with Captain Weiner, of course. Captains on board, they need to maintain the ships. They need to make sure your ship is sparkling when we get started again. And of course, arrange all those details ready for the new norm. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting when you were talking about the food experience on board. Of course, things have to change a little to adapt to what's happening today. But I will say, every time we went to the dining room, I think one of your servers overheard that my favorite meal to have when I was a little bit homesick was spaghetti and meatballs. And all of a sudden, 15 minutes later, a bowl of spaghetti and meatballs was put right in front of me, and I was like, you can make spaghetti and meatballs? I don't even see it on the menu. And he was like, we can make anything you want. And if you have any desire, if you could just give us a heads up, maybe a few hours before lunch or before dinner, we would be happy to meet that request. So I feel like your staff has been preparing for being adaptable and kind of changing all the time, just because we all have our cravings and our wants and needs, and you've always been there for that.
Absolutely. We have our special diet requests. We have a lot of people coming on board with certain allergies. So really our team, and they love to do it. It's not just that they should do it. They just love to please you and make you happy. It's all about this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we're going to take a poll right now, because we've seen a lot of great videos of the AmaMagna and just understanding river cruising. And we would like to know, who would you like to go on a river cruise with? Clearly things are going to change, and we're going to want to travel again. And who is that going to be with, especially on a river cruise? Would you like to be on your own? I know a lot of you have been holed up with your families. Maybe you don't want to be with your family right now. With your partner, a more romantic cruise, nothing better than the Danube or even the Rhine for that. With family members, I know from travel and what we're hearing with travel trends, multi-generational trips are going to come back big time once we can travel with one another. We want to make memories together. We miss each other. With a group of friends, and for the same reason you'd be traveling with your family, right? You want to reconnect. You want to hug each other again, and be an experience and have more memories than just being apart. So we're going to give you a few moments to get your selection in, and maybe should I propose another toast? What should we do in the meantime?
That would be fantastic, Samantha. I'm sure you have one ready.
I always have a toast ready. I don't know if you see me. I don't see me anymore. So, but I don't know if it's probably not important, but I am raising my glass of Gruner Veltliner. And, I'm always asked to explain why travel is important, right? Everyone understands that it's a privilege. People understand that it's to have enjoyment in your life, but I feel travel is important. And why that is so is because travel is one of the few things that we have in our lives that really mark a fresh start, a new beginning. So I would like to propose a toast to the fresh start and the new beginnings, because certainly better times are coming, and we'll be ready for them. Cheers.
Cheers, Samantha. That was a wonderful toast. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, I get to drink again.
Okay, so once the time is right to travel internationally again, who would you like to go on a river cruise with? With a group of friends is actually the majority of our listeners here today. With my partner comes second, with family members in third place, but this is 24%. That is about a quarter who would like to travel internationally with family members. And that's wonderful. And on my own, 4%, you know what? I think this is great as well, but you will make friends. Of course, you can be the way you want to be, just private, personal, discover on your own. But on the river cruise ship, you will make so many friends, because everyone is kind of like to share the stories, right? It has so much to talk about, their lives, their history. I really feel these dinners are so enriching. And I love to listen to the stories that our fellow guests have to share. And then, of course, as you said, if you want to have some quiet moments, there is enough space just to retract, read a book in the library, or sip a little bit of the delicious wine on the sun deck while having your feet in the water of the pool and seeing all the castles passing by. But Samantha, after more than 20 years of traveling and doing shows, what are some of your travel tips that you would like to share with our audience today? And I know you have so many. Now you need to pick.
Yeah, we have 3 more hours left, right? Now, I picked 2 that I really felt. I have 3, and the first 2 are those that I feel really help people have more personal travels that create the biggest impact on their lives. And I have learned this through my 20 years of travel. And my favorite tip is to create a ritual. So do one thing, the exact same thing, exact same time and place every single day. And for me on board, it was finding that spot on top of the deck in the morning when no one else was up. I grabbed my tea and I went to the top and I just watched the beautiful silent world go by. And when I'm on in a destination, I'll find a little cafe around the corner from my hotel. I won't stay in my hotel. I'll do the same thing. But I love finding that place because it makes me be more in the moment, right? I think with travel, we feel like we have to be on the go, something new every day, every half hour has to be something great. We have to eat at different places. And we actually don't. That's not true. You can really slow down and enjoy. So creating a ritual, and I've talked to people and they said, I do yoga or I meditate or I go to a park, maybe you go to church. So a lot of people really employ this again to have a greater mental health boost when you travel. My second one is to go for a walk. No matter where you are in the world, reserve like 2 hours one day out of the entire trip, just one day, 2 hours, and go for a walk. But get out of the tourism centers and go to where people live and go to their neighborhoods and just sit down in one of their cafes and or parks and just be a part of everyday life, because I've always felt that everyday life in another part of the world is absolutely extraordinary. And the most powerful moments I have had as a traveler has been in those moments of mundane. So never underestimate the power of the mundane, the daily ritual, the daily going ons of life, and then we appreciate it more. And do you know, Kristin, when I talked to the last ship that I was on with the AmaMagna, and I talked with our passengers, your passengers, I gave them these tips. And then that day, they came back the next day and they just told me like the wonderful conversations they finally had with people who lived there, that because they just sat in one place and they just waited until these wonderful moments, right? I think just those two together will give you a greater sense of experience when you travel. Now, my third tip is very practical. It's a packing tip and people are going to love it. And that is always pack old sneakers when you travel. So you pack old shoes, you use them on your trip. You're going to love them because they're broken in. You never bring new shoes on a trip because they're not broken in. You're going to get blisters. Old sneakers that were bound for like the trash heap, bring them, use them, and then leave them with a little note saying no longer needed. And now you have 10 to 15, sometimes 25% more space in your luggage for all the wonderful souvenirs and beautiful items that you're going to bring back from your travels. So people have told me, oh, I bring old sweaters, old clothes, and I just leave them with a nice little note for housekeeping saying no longer needed, gently used, please do with do what you wish. And I just feel like that frees up your luggage space, because we know luggage isn't expensive to check, and if it's overweight, it's even more expensive. So there you go. There's your little safety there. Old shoes.
And you do have to walk a lot when you're in Europe. Of course, it's up to you, but as you say, there's so much to see. So for sure.
You keep going.
You have to learn these things, right? That there are certain things are not important anymore. We all learn it in life and we go through this experience, but it's great to share with our kids as well, right? So Samantha, I think we have a few more minutes before we open it up questions. You have been on the Rhine and the Mosel with us, and I know in addition to the Danube, the Rhine is a river where river cruisers go first. It flows through a couple of countries. We go from Holland to Germany to France to Switzerland. There is so much diversity. And the Mosel, of course, I always say Father Rhine and Mother Mosel, because the Mosel, which actually is a confluence of the Rhine from Koblenz, the Mosel goes towards Luxembourg, Trier, the oldest city, of course, in Germany. But for me, it's the very most beautiful river, I can say. It's small, it's windy, it's curvy, it's lovely. So many small villages there, everything is in walking distance, so many castles, so many different vineyards, and the steepest wine terraces, some of the steepest in our world. So do you want to share some of your favorite spots along the Rhine and the Mosel with our listeners?
Oh, absolutely. And I agree. The Mosel was, the Rhine is it the longest river in Europe, I believe. But the Mosel is this tiny little, just, again, I love, people might see a theme with me. I love the intimate. I love the personal, and the Moselle is personal. Of course, when you are on the Rhine, Cologne is one of the grandest cities, and you see the cathedral. I'm there with a wonderful food tour blogger and guide. And of course, what's interesting about Cologne is it's one of the only stops, I believe, along the Rhine that isn't dedicated to wine or Riesling, right? Beer is king in Cologne, and Kolsch. And
Yes.
Kolsch is a wonderful, light, refreshing drink. And you being German, Kristin, I'm sure you appreciate that it's served in a tall glass. There's no Stein, right? There's no big, heavy beer Stein. I think people have Bavaria in their mind when they think of German, beer drinking. But here it is delicate as a nice Riesling or a Gruner Veltliner, but it's beer in the glass. And when our guide told us, she's like, you don't find Kolsch anywhere outside of Cologne. Is that correct? Like, so if you go to Dusseldorf, they don't serve Kolsch.
No. This is the same what I said with the countries before, between Cologne and Düsseldorf. I mean, both beautiful cities on the Rhine, but they are a little bit rivals, right? So they have their own things. Yeah, for sure.
They have their own beer. And what you serve alongside a good Kolsch is raw hamburger on toast. And I loved it. It reminded me of my childhood. When my mom would be making hamburger, she'd give me some to eat raw, and I loved it. And my mom's German, so that makes a lot of sense. So it's actually a nice taste together. The next one was, this has to be, Kristin, one of my favorite moments of my travel life. This is Rudesheim. We are on top of that hill. You take a gondola from, basically you dock right in a beautiful park, and you walk outside the park and you meet a gondola that takes you to the top of this lovely mountain or hillside that looks down on the Rhine. And I'm there with the wine owner, Adolf. Yes.
Okay,
thank you. And I love his Hawaiian shirt. His family's been making wine for 400 years. Incredible. And I'm drinking one of his Rieslings, but I loved he had a rosé that just knocked my socks off. And there was something about drinking that wine overlooking the Rhine that was just one of those perfect moments where you just feel like the stars are aligned, and you just have this perfect moment in life, and you just want to savor it. You just want to take it in. I don't want to take any pictures. That's easy for me to say. I have 2 major professional cameras shooting me at every time, but I just absorbed the moment for what it was. The last picture here is funny. I'm here with my husband and my 2 kids, and right now we're going through Holland. We're on our way to Amsterdam, our final stop, and we had to take a picture by that bridge. And is there something, Kristin, this is for you. Let's see, I don't want to put you on the spot, but is there a tie between Holland and New York City that you can think of? We have a lot of Dutch, in of course, New York City, but that bridge especially might have a connection to my own family.
It's the Brooklyn Bridge, which
yes.
Of course reminds of the Brooklyn Bridge, right, in New York.
The Brooklyn Bridge. So we're going to the village of, or the town of, I don't know, of Brooklyn in Holland, and that's of course where Brooklyn, New York was named after, and that's their bridge. So we thought, well, we've got to get a picture of that. My children are 5th generation Brooklynites. My husband is 4th generation. So a lot of history with that amazing borough. So that was a great, just little tie. Our kids could care less. They were so mad I got them out of the pool, but I was like, get out of the pool, the Brooklyn Bridge.
Yeah, and by the way, it's this is actually one of my favorite pictures, I have to say. It just shows the scenery changing into the start of the fall colors. And that's my favorite time to go, in late October, when the vineyards turning into their vibrant, magnetic yellow, orange, red colors. So that's probably in the middle of October when this one was taken. And then everything is becoming more quiet again, more charming. And you are alone with the locals, can inhale and look at the grapes, taste the grapes. And it's just, I cannot wait to go back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, this is the mental boost we all needed, just to reminisce and know that it's only a matter of time. This is showing one of my favorite memories. I hope I don't step on you, Christine, when I say that one of my favorite parts of being on a river cruise is when I would sit on my balcony or maybe up top, and I would just sit there and watch, and someone bicycling would go faster than us on the side of the Danube and the Rhine. I just love that. It's like, obviously, this is the right pace of life right now. But that was my favorite moment, when cyclists would just be faster than the speed of our lovely boat.
And this could be even some of our own guests, right? Because we have all the bicycles on board, and then we can even bike from one port to the next port. And then I usually see our bikers, and sometimes I'm one of them, waving to the ship to say, hey, we go faster. And then, of course, they wait when the ship pulls into port and arrives there, and they come back. And everyone is clapping on board, and they say yes, and we can eat 3 times as much for dinner tonight.
Exactly. Spaghetti and meatballs for everyone.
Yeah. Okay, Samantha, I know we do have quite a few questions waiting for us here, but one thing, of course, there are so many more destinations. There is a cruise planned with you in August, going to Bordeaux, one of my favorite itineraries as well in France. I just love France as well. With all these medieval villages, the French markets, everything is so fresh there. The chateaus, abundance of wineries. What would come next for you? Because I'm sure that you have built up your own bucket list, and hopefully this river cruising.
Well, I tell you, I miss my ship, Christine. I miss her a lot. I would love to be back on the AmaMagna. And I remember when we were there shooting last year on the Danube. And I know it's a few years down the line, but you were planning the upper Danube itinerary, right? Through Croatia, Serbia,
The lower. So the upper we did, and then we found the lower one. Yes, yes. So
the lower. And there was a few reasons why I wanted to do that. One, those are countries I've never been to, but also your amazing staff. Most of them were from those areas. Yes, and when you have that wonderful relationship with the people who you see every day, giving you ideas of how you should see their country, they are so proud. Of course, they have pride where they're from, their countries, what they do, and they want to make sure you are experiencing that. So I thought, wow, to be on that ship with the wonderful staff giving me great ideas, because they get me, they know what I want to see. I can't wait to do that.
Yeah, and the lower Danube is really has come in quite some demand, because it's the countries that were behind the Iron Curtain, and our guests want to see these countries. It's not just because of Dracula, Bran Castle, and Romania, right? And the Iron Gate is my favorite day, where the border, actually the river forms the border between Romania and Bulgaria. Yeah. And it's just a fascinating day going. It's almost like a gorge, stunning scenery, but back to you, it's most about the people. And yes, for sure. Lower Danube, so it is.
Yeah, but that's what I love about the intimacy of your ships, is when you get back on, you feel a camaraderie with everyone. It's not it's just a small group, and so you really connect with people. You learn what they did. They give you great advice of what you should do, and there's just a nice reciprocity of wonderful ideas and interests. And that's what you really love. Like you have this team, whether it's the people that are your staff or the passengers, and everyone's on your side. And so I really enjoyed that. We were all on the same page of what we wanted to experience in all these countries, right? I mean, you really want to enjoy them, because you don't know if you'll be coming back, right? This might be the last time you go through this, because next time you're going to go do your South African cruise. Maybe you'll do your Vietnamese cruise. So I think it's one of those, you just want to make the most of it, but not do too much, so you really enjoy and savor the moments.
Yeah, perfect. And I think now we do have questions, Sonia, right? And
we do.
I just want to toast to Samantha and to with our audience, hopefully to the next cruise very soon. no matter where it is. Could be the lower Danube, could be Bordeaux, the Danube, the Rhine, the Douro, the Mekong. It will all come back.
It will. Travel comes back. Cheers.
Cheers.
We are actually receiving quite a lot of questions from our viewers on Facebook, YouTube, and through our webcast. And thank you so much for addressing your destination that you're anticipating when the time is right to travel, because this is one of the most frequently asked questions. People wanted to know, when you, Samantha, and Christina personally, where are you going to travel to next? And of course, because this is a virtual sip and sail cocktail hour, we have a lot of wine questions. So one of the questions for you, the clients would like, our guests would like to know if they would like to purchase wine while they're traveling. How do we handle bringing the wines back home?
Okay, all right. Where do we want to start? Your next destination, Samantha, mine, where we are booked? I can say I am actually booked in November, December on our Thanksgiving cruise, AmaMagna, on a Christmas time cruise. I booked a host. So I really, really hope we can go. We have right now, we had to suspend our cruises until July 31st. It definitely, I know that Europe is opening up. I know Germany, Austria, Holland, France, and Switzerland plan to open up for the Europeans, for their own inhabitants on June 15. So, and then some German river cruise lines plan to start up cruising again. Now, this is too early for us because international travelers will not be allowed on June 15 to enter the country for tourism. However, if this happens, then of course, they will all collect the very first experiences. And I think from there, hopefully it's then not far away that we all can come back again and travel and cruise together again. So that is the current situation. It's of course a little bit of a crystal ball. It depends on so many facts, you know, that hopefully there is not another outbreak, or that really the governments are welcoming us all back as soon as possible. But we are very, very optimistic. And I know, Samantha, you are booked in Bordeaux, I mean, on this cruise next.
Yeah.
So let's see. I don't know. I cannot say if it's happening, yes or no. I have to be very honest, very realistic, but we still have hope it will.
Yeah, but we started shooting season 4 of Places to Love back in February in Quebec City, and in March we were scheduled to go to Austria and Tyrol region, as well as do an unknown London, and then we were off to Bermuda. And of course, all those trips were canceled. And my attitude was always, until I'm told I can't go, I'm going. And we were told we can't go, so it became very obvious. We need to be safe. Of course, first, we need to listen to the scientists and make sure we're getting the best information. I would say the first place that we plan to go to is to the state of Maine to see my mom. I haven't seen her in a long time. I celebrated my 50th birthday alone. And Christine, you might appreciate this. She's made me pork chop sauerkraut and potatoes every year for 35 years for my birthday. So I'm going to go to Maine to get it. But it's interesting you talk about, you know, that the borders, the European countries, we're really experiencing that same feeling with the United States, right? States are kind of implementing their own borders. And I know, so my state of New Hampshire, where I grew up, they're doing a soft opening now. And with restaurants coming on board towards the end, like June 15th, and they've asked people from other states not to rush into New Hampshire. Right, Maine is basically saying, you cannot come to Maine during the entire month of July unless you quarantine for 14 days. August is a very different. August, you can come. The hotels are opening up. So there's this. We're seeing this around the world. There's a tiptoeing, right? And we're tiptoeing until we see, okay, is everyone safe? Okay, join hands, tiptoe. Is everyone safe? Feels good. Tiptoe. Next, is everyone okay? And that's what's really important. I feel like we are global citizens, and we need to make sure everyone is safe, that we're not bringing something to them and they're not bringing something to us. And we can do that because the reward is going to be great. We're going to be able to travel again. And I remember when we were told, well, hugging is out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a hugger. So I'm going to make sure it's okay to hug. and then maybe I'll have to wait till the vaccine. I'm not sure. So those are the plans. And I think everyone in the travel industry right now is just wait and see. Let's look for some good news, and then we'll go forth.
Absolutely. And once we can go again and you want to taste all the delicious wine in Europe, of course, I know we go to many of those smaller wineries and they are not really selling their wines. They don't even have enough production. It's just for themselves, for their local population, for their friends or so. But wherever we can, then of course, we have our contacts. They will ship it back for you. But you can also drink it on board. Sure enough, we serve complimentary wines for lunch and dinner. Of course, our complimentary sip and sail hour on board. But if you want to bring your own bottle of wine and consume it on board, maybe on the sun deck in the afternoon while we are cruising or so, there's never a corkage fee. We are cruising through so many different wine countries. It is part of the experience. So I can only encourage you, taste through all the different wines, because really there are not so many in the stores here. So take advantage of it. And wherever we come to the places where you can purchase the wines and they help you shipping, our cruise managers will point this out for you, and then let's do it.
Yeah. And I think what is it, through customs you're allowed to bring 2 bottles of wine? I know back into the United States.
1.5 liter, 2 bottles of wine. That's correct. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for addressing it. Another question from our guest is, can you share any tips on visiting Christmas markets in Europe?
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes. The Christmas time cruises are also some of my favorite ones. That time is so peaceful. When you go to Europe, then I don't know honestly how it will look this year with the Christmas markets, but I do have the feeling they will manage, because all those small vendors, it's lovely. They want to offer their things that they have crafted, created. It's about the tastes. So I know, for instance, here, some of the farmers markets we have in California and Seattle and so on, they have opened again and they allow so many people to come in. There are some social distance regulations there. Maybe you cannot just queue up too close with each other. So I'm pretty sure that the Europeans will be very creative there, that the Christmas markets will be there, but of course with not so many crowds and people being too close together, and they will just have to manage it. Yeah, that's my guess.
My tip would be enjoy the glühwein wine after you've shopped, not before, because I did that with my mom. I took my mom, who's German. We went to Nuremberg, we went to Munich, and we did the big Christmas markets, and we drank in the beginning, and we were done by like in a half an hour because we were light. So,
and of course we serve the glühwein on board, right? When you come back from the outside, we welcome you with your glühwein or your punch or your hot chocolate, whatever you like. Yeah.
Well, we talked a lot about the food and wine, and one of our travel advisors is asking, I have guests who are gluten-free. Do you accommodate gluten-free options aboard?
Yes, we do. Thank you for this question. I would say almost 10% of our guests coming on board are either gluten-free or have a different allergy. We bake our own bread on board. We bake our own gluten-free bread on board. The best is that you, our travel advisor, you let us know when you make the booking, and then we deliver this message to our crew on board. And then the chef or the maître d' will be in touch with your guest, so that in the beginning, right in the beginning, you can talk. They will also ask you what you love to eat. Again, outside of our regular menu items, we can do so many more things customized for you. And the more we know about you and what you like, the more we can, of course, provide for you on board. But everything is possible. The only diet that we can really not cater to is strong Orthodox, right? Because Jewish Orthodox, because that requires 2 kitchens, or the kitchen has to be so large that everything can be separated from each other. That's what we cannot do. But everything else, we are trained, our chefs, we are the experts, absolutely.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, we have a lot more questions coming up, but just for the sake of time, I would like to select one, and it is about attire. And actually, it's coming from 2 different people, but they're both asking about attire. One question is for you, Kristin. What is the attire and the dress code when you're sailing with us? And the other question, Samantha, is very personal, and it is for you. And our viewers would like to know, where do you shop for dresses?
Okay, so it depends when I travel. When I travel in summer, I actually like to travel with a carry-on only, because I lost too often my luggage, and I just don't want to go through this anymore. I take some good walking shoes. I take some good flat shoes, sandals with me. Dressing in layers is very important, because in summer when it's warm, it can be quite warm, but we are on a boat, we are on a ship. It can be quite windy from time to time. So it's really good that you also have a sweater or a jacket with you. And then I always have 1 pair of high-heeled shoes for the evening, and a couple of dresses, because I do love to dance. And in the evening, obviously, it's not that we have a formal dress code, but with respect to all our guests, we like to dress up just a little bit, right? And so definitely not a long gown. You don't have to take a tuxedo along, not even a suit, but maybe a sports jacket for the Captain's Gala night. That is actually something quite nice. And when I travel in winter, of course, then I do have to check in luggage. I need my boots. It can be sometimes cold in winter. We need a coat. We need our gloves. Oh, and one thing, I always bring my workout outfit with me, because we have a wellness coach on board. So I love to do core and yoga and stretch exercises with our wellness host in the morning. And I love to go on a bike. And for this, of course, I need this too. But we have these items in our gift shop as well. If you forget, you can purchase it there. And some gloves for the winter season, but also when it's a little bit more chilly and you like to bike, then I like to have it with me as well. So now to you, Samantha, where do you purchase your beautiful dresses and everything?
I do love dresses. It's an easy outfit to put on. You don't have to think about, you only have to think about one thing. I do a lot of shopping at, I don't know if you know this, Anthropology, which is a great store, Kate Spade. They're just good solid dresses that I can wear again and again and again. Usually I'm on camera, and so we have to make sure that the dress holds up, it doesn't look wrinkly, and for some reason a dress just falls nicely where pants and shorts and a shirt actually starts to get crumpled. And so a dress always makes you feel good. And I will say, I think it is important that we look just that you present yourself in the best ways. I always say that you're always making a first impression when you travel, and certainly how you're dressed. And that's not to say people have to dress up, but looking well, you know, and looking polished, you get better service. I'm not talking on board. Of course, you're always going to get really amazing service when you're on board the ship, but when you're outside and walking around, I've always found that people take you a little more seriously when you're dressed nicely. Mm-hmm. So that's something that I like to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so no more questions, Sonia. And how do we do if there are extra questions? We will just send an email answer, or?
Absolutely, yes. So we have a team of wonderful moderators. They were dedicated to answering everybody's questions live, and all of the questions have been answered on Facebook and through other channels. So thank you so much for addressing them and for sharing your insider tips.
Yes, and I know we have gone a little bit over time, and for all the ones who are still with us, we want to really thank you for staying with us, for dedicating your time. Again, I don't know in what time zones you are, but hopefully our cocktail hour, our virtual sip and sail with Samantha, your TV host, Places to Love, gave you a little bit more positive energy than sometimes TV does at these times. It was really about sharing the memories, you know, looking into the future, being positive, being passionate, planning actually the bucket list, maybe with your friends, with your families, with your partners, or maybe, you know, just to go on our own and seeing what all these countries and the people in these countries have ready for us. So with this, I would also like to mention that next Thursday, we will do another virtual sip and sail, and this will be a virtual wine cruise. You know, we have 70 wine experience cruises every year. They are hosted by winery owners, by winemakers from around the world, could be from California, could be from Virginia, even Texas, or from Canada, could be from South Africa, from Argentina, from France, or even from Germany. And we have our TV host, Leslie Sprocco, who is also a wine expert. She will be your host next week. She will then take Samantha's spot. Now, I cannot even think about taking your spot, Samantha, but this will be in a very, very different way, showing you in a virtual way what our wine cruises are about. And we will have our cruise manager, Sebastian. He's from France originally, living in the United States now. He created a family here. He will be our cruise manager and will do exactly what our cruise managers are doing on board our ships. And we will have some great virtual wine tastings with you together as well, preparing you hopefully for the next wine live cruise. So Samantha, it was such a great pleasure to be on this together with you. I always get goosebumps when I see your picture also with our captain in the middle. That was on the Rhine. From Cologne. He was born either in Cologne or Düsseldorf. I know it, right? He's one of our German captains.
Yeah, Dusseldorf. I think he was a Dusseldorfer. Yeah, and if you notice, that's his mustache, which I love.
Exactly. And again, yes, thank you so much for giving us your time. Thank you so much for really your big world of travel tips and showing our clients, our guests, the world, you know, the way you see it, the way you want your family to see it, with so many moments to share, so many insider tips. So yeah, a big thank you from the entire AmaWaterways family to you, to our travel partners. Our travel partners, you know, you are the foundation of our business. We would not have done what we have without you. You are our extended marketing and sales arm, and we are very, very fortunate to have partners like you sharing the same core values, attention to a very genuine service, integrity, sincerity, honesty, to be realistic, positive spirit, and the sparkle, right? So looking forward to welcoming you. And I know, Samantha, you want to say some final words as well.
Oh, I do. I mean, it's just been such a pleasure. Like I said, it's just thinking about travel, planning it, dreaming of what's to come, looking back at great memories. This is what life is all about. And you have one experience, and think about this, one experience lasts a lifetime. And certainly just doing one of your cruises have given me a lifetime of memories. And when you get to share that, it's interesting that the poll said that people want to get back with their friends. That really made me smile. We want to connect. We like I said in the video, we don't want just to show people pictures of our trip. We want those people to be in the pictures with us on that trip. So here's to having better pictures with our friends in beautiful countries and places.
And cheers to all of you. Thank you again for joining us. We look forward to welcoming you all on board in the near future. Cheers. Cheers, Samantha. Cheers.
Thank you so much.
Until soon again.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.